Hi there, and welcome to Webinar 2 in the Speed You Up Training for Schools webinar series. This webinar looks at support and resources for teachers and facilitators when implementing the Speed You Up programme. This webinar will last about 10 minutes, and during that time you will find out more about how you can embed the Speed You Up programme in your school. We will cover a variety of different topics in this time, which are listed from 1 to 6 in the menu on the slide. Starting with introductions, we will then move on to looking at the webinar series as a whole. We will then revisit the goal of the Speed You Up programme, which you will have explored in more detail in webinar 1. We will then look at a roadmap for teachers and facilitators when implementing the Speed You Up programme in their school. We shall also explore the resources available to teachers and facilitators, including the website and modules. And finally, we will end with a signposting for you for any questions you may have. Firstly, you may be watching this webinar as part of a group activity in your school. If so, then it might be helpful to pause at this time and let everybody introduce themselves so you can get to know who is in your group. If you have not yet viewed Webinar 1, I would advise you to do so before moving to this webinar, which is Webinar 2. Webinar 1 will introduce you to the Speed You Up programme as a whole. In particular, it will look at the administrative requirements that are involved in setting up the Speed You Up programme in your school, the student demographic that this programme aims to support, and the intended outcomes of the programme overall. We will shortly go through the elements of Webinar 2, and these will focus on guiding you through the initial steps of setting up a hub and the resources you can access through the website and the modules. Webinar 3 looks at working with young people directly. This webinar introduces different approaches to building self-esteem and confidence, employability skills, and entrepreneurial skills. Your student group will work together to create a business pop-up, and Webinar 3 looks at what this involves. The final webinar in the series, Webinar 4, focuses on how you can work closely with local stakeholders such as employers, businesses, and community groups to widen the experience and knowledge of the young people working in the hub. You will have covered the goal of the Speed You Up project and much more in lots of detail in Webinar 1, so this is just a revisit of the goal of the project, which is to transform the life outcomes of young people in education who are at risk of becoming NEETs. We do this by supporting schools to develop a hub through which the young people can develop their entrepreneurial and employability skills by setting up a business pop-up. Your Speed You Up partner, if there is one in your country, can help you to do this successfully in your school. One very useful way of implementing this program in your school is to use the roadmap for pop-ups as a guide. Of course, you may add other elements to this roadmap that are particular to your group. At the starting point, you will need to work closely with the young people in your school to better understand the program and how it will benefit them. Once they are interested and motivated to be involved, you will need to set a time frame for implementation and also collect data that will help map the progress made by every young person involved in the program. Your local Speed You Up partner, if there is one in your country, will handhold you through the data collection elements of the program. If you are implementing this without a Speed You Up partner, then all the data collection tools and other resources are downloadable on the website. The key to a successful experience for the young people will be their connection with external organisations and people who can share their knowledge and expertise about setting up a business or indeed by just providing training on elements such as marketing and finance. We have called these the SEB group for the purposes of this webinar, which means stakeholders, employers and businesses. Remember, this could be anyone from your local florist to the manager of the local bank. Each hub is different, and the SEB group will also be unique to that hub. It's a good idea to do an inventory of who exists in your local community that could come and talk with the young people, or perhaps host them in their organisation for a day. Talk to your young people about what they need and encourage them to make contact with the SEB group. External organisations can be very generous with their time when they know it is supporting the development of young people in their community. I would advise you to use the Frameworks for Collaboration tool when you begin to exchange with the SEB group. This tool is available for download in the resources section of the website. The next step on the roadmap is the doing step. At this point, the young people will begin to work through the 8 modules which are available on the website. We will look at the modules a little later on in this webinar. As the young people work through the modules, they will develop new skills and expertise at each step. Once the young people have worked through the modules, they may feel ready to launch their pop-up. If they need some more support at this point, it might be worth refocusing on elements in the modules that will get them to the next steps. The final step is to celebrate the achievement of the young people. At this point, they will have set up their business pop-up. They may be making changes and trying new ways to do things to ensure the pop-up keeps going, or they may feel their pop-up has achieved its aim and they want to try something new. Either way, the young people will have learned a lot of new skills and they will feel more confident and motivated about their future. Other young people in your school may now want to go through the same program, so it is at this point you can really embed the Speed You Up program into the school's wider curriculum supporting at-risk needs. Remember, at every step of the way, it is important to maintain the team group and to bring in the external support and expertise of the wider SEB group. Working together with your Speed You Up partner is really key. As mentioned previously, if you do not have a Speed You Up partner or you're implementing this without a Speed You Up partner, all of the tools and resources you need are available for download on the website. What the school will do in this program is to deliver the entire Speed You Up program to the young people. Make sure to complete all the required administrative documentation, to put measures in place to monitor the progress of the young people, link directly with those external stakeholders, businesses and employers, set up and support the young people to run the hubs, and support the students with their pop-ups. Your Speed You Up partner will work with you to set up all systems. They can support the delivery in the early stages. They can help you to understand and to complete all the administrative documents that are required. They can work with the external groups to set up these meetings with your stakeholders, employers and businesses alongside the teachers and facilitators. And they can always be at the end of the phone for any questions and queries you may have. What the SEB group could do is also very important. They can support the students to develop a business plan for their pop-up. They could perhaps deliver small sessions on how to understand finance and marketing for business. They could feed into different elements of the modules and perhaps give talks and workshops on how these have worked in their organisations. And ultimately, they can help students understand what employability skills are important. One of the most important resources for the Speed You Up program can be located on the website. The address is shown on this slide. These are the Speed You Up modules. There are 8 modules in total, which give the young people the skills and knowledge they need to work towards setting up their business pop-up. The modules are number 1, an introduction module, which gives an overview of the Speed You Up program as a whole. Number 2, the skills and talents module, which will help the young people to identify and develop their own skills, talents and abilities. Number 3, the discovery module, is focused on developing a business idea which is community oriented. Young people are encouraged to undertake a community analysis as part of this program. Number 4, the dreaming module, looks at how the young people can develop further their business idea that they explored in the discovery module. Number 5, the pitching module, supports the young people to present their business idea to a wider audience and to get feedback on this idea. Number 6, the designing module. At this stage, the young people will develop a concrete business plan to support the implementation of their pop-up. Module number 7, the doing module, contains a step-by-step plan that the young people can follow to put their business idea into practice. Finally, Module 8. This gives the young people the opportunity to reflect on the process. In particular, what have they learnt about themselves? How have their skills and talents developed? And how can they apply these in the future? And finally, what additional education, training, or other opportunities they feel they would now like to explore as a result of their involvement in the Speed You Up program. The modules give, guide, and provide everything the young person needs to progress through the Speed You Up program. Each module is structured in a way that is very easy to follow. This starts with the goal of the module and what the module aims to achieve. The learning outcomes are also listed, and these can be a good way to map the progress of the young people in terms of their skills development. Each module will also list the key elements and topics covered. Each will be accompanied by timed and structured session plans. Some young people may want to spend a lot of time on one module in particular, and perhaps less time on another. For this reason, each module offers 3 different options for implementation, including a basic fundamental option that covers a few key elements, to the Excel option, which will cover a lot more material. The advantage of this approach is that the young people can find the option that works best for them and their needs. Each module also includes a section on tips and tricks. These will give some additional information that the young people can think about as they go through the module. We cannot explore all the modules in this webinar, so please visit the project website. The address is located on this slide. Click Login and then click Modules on the menu bar. You will then be able to access all the modules, the detailed session plans, and all associated information. It is good practice to go through the modules with the young people so that they are familiar with what is available. As mentioned before, the young people can work through the modules at a pace that is right for them. That is the end of webinar 2. If you have any questions about the Speed You Up program, please visit the partner page on the website and contact the partner or partners in your country. Thank you for watching.